wanted to talk about this as well.
Well, there is no place in America, red state, blue state, urban area, rural area, that doesn't believe that the system is rigged and is rigged against them. And they understand it every single place in America. They know who writes the laws. They know who wrote the Medicare prescription drug law. It was written by the lobbyists for the drug companies. They know that. They know who has the power in Washington, D.C., and they know it's not them. For us to be able to go to these places and compete, we need to quit worrying about political strategy and actually be the party. And I have a presidential candidate that stands up for real change, real reform. I said earlier today, not just for the presidential candidates. I think my party, the Democratic Party, the party of the people, ought to say from this day forward, we will never take a dime from a Washington lobbyist. We do not do business with these insiders. We're going to give the power in this government back to the people. Senator Obama and I have already done it, but this is not just presidential candidates. We don't have to wait for the next presidential election to start reforming. We need to start a grassroots movement for reform today, and we need your voice in that effort to reform.
Thank you, Senator. That's actually the second time you've made this very definitive statement about lobbyists. Senator Clinton, who's sitting next to you, would you make a similar statement, or why do you think that's not a persuasive argument?
Well, I think it's a position that John certainly has taken. I have to say that I don't think, based on my 35 years of fighting for what I believe in, anybody seriously believes I'm going to be influenced by a lobbyist or a particular interest group. Now, I've been waiting for this. This gives us a real sense of reality with my being here. But look, the important thing is what you have fought for and what you will fight for. And I will absolutely be on the front lines of the change that we need. And I think I have a good idea about how to bring about that change. I wish it were. I'm anxious to hear the exchanges, but I wish it were as simple as saying, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It's going to take a grassroots movement. That's why I'm here today, to thank the blogosphere, to thank Daily Kos, to thank you for being part of the progressive movement in America. I wish you'd been around in '93 and '94 when we were trying to get health care. I was standing up against the drug companies and the insurance companies. So that's what we need, and that's what we're going to have. I look forward to working with you when I'm the nominee and the president.
Senator Edwards has really a very straightforward question here, which is, will you continue to take money from lobbyists?
Yes,
or will you take his position?
I will, because a lot of those lobbyists, whether you like it or not, represent real Americans. They actually do. They represent nurses. They represent, social workers. They represent corporations that employ a lot of people. So, the idea that somehow a contribution is going to influence you, I just ask you to look at my record. I have been fighting for the same things. My core principles have not changed. But I do want to be the president for everybody. And I want to represent the entire country, and that is what I'm aiming to do in my campaign.
Thank you. Very, very quickly, I can't stay on this question forever. I'm going to go to Senator Dodd, who hasn't spoken in a while, and Senator Obama, and then I'm going to go back out to Jeffrey in the audience. Senator Dodd, go ahead.
Matt, look, first of all, whether you're a Washington lobbyist or a Chicago lobbyist, what we ought to have is public financing for congressional and presidential campaigns. That would solve the whole problem here. It's something I've advocated for years and years. That would take all of this out of the place. Instead of talking about one city or another, whether it's a trial lawyer or a corporate contribution, allow for public financing. That would make the biggest difference of all. And all.
Thank you. Senator Obama, you wanted to address this issue.
Ask for a show of hands on that, Matt. I think we're all for public financing.
Who's for public financing?
Absolutely.
Senator Clinton wants to see a show of hands.
Public financing, that's solid.
Senator Obama, go ahead.
I am happy that Chris is on board with public financing. Dick Durbin's got it.
Going back 15 years. I'm not a newcomer to this.
Chris, but what I will say is, though, I disagree with the notion that lobbyists don't have disproportionate influence. Look, the insurance and the drug companies spent $1 billion in lobbying over the last 10 years. Now, Hillary, you were talking earlier about the efforts you made back in '93. Well, you can't tell me that money did not have a difference. They are not spending that just because they are contributing to the public interest. They have an agenda. And so the one thing, so one thing I want to just be clear about is, part of the analysis for all of you is who's got a track record on doing this. Here in Illinois, I passed the first campaign finance reform in 25 years right here in Illinois. We just passed an ethics reform bill that is going to allow you to see who's bundling. And the reason is because myself and Russ Feingold forced that provision in. And by the way, it was resisted not just by Republicans, but by some Democrats. So, we can take concrete steps right now. I agree that our long-term goal has to be public financing. But let's not suggest that until we get there, that there's nothing meaningful that we can do. There, in fact, is.
Thank you, Senator. I'm losing control. I promised Senator Edwards, who also must have had a birthday sometime recently, 15 seconds, and then we're going to go back to the audience because poor Jeffrey's going to wring my neck. Senator Edwards.
If you have any question about whether Washington lobbyists have disproportionate influence, too much influence, how many people in this room have a Washington lobbyist working for you? I see 2, 3. How many people are in the room? 1,500, 2,000? You are not represented by Washington lobbyists. We need to cut these people off. That's what we need to do.